Welcome to Woodcraft of Dayton. My name is Tony Buran. I'm one of the instructors here at the store. And today we're going to talk about scroll saws. We're going to talk about selecting a scroll saw for yourself and how to set it up. We're also going to talk about some blade selections. And during this series we're going to talk about cutting projects and different things you can do with your scroll saw, including stack cutting and just cutting some different projects for yourself and different materials that you can use for your projects. In this session we're going to talk about selecting a pattern and the material you want to cut. One of the tricks that you want to think about is depending on how thick the material is, and this is a piece of cherry that we've used for demonstration. This is a piece of 3/4 inch cherry, and you may want to use cherry for some of your projects. One of the tricks that is good for not only with cherry is applying a layer of clear mailing tape on top of your wood. Does a couple of things. It lubricates the blade and it allows your blade to cut longer and cooler, and cherry is one of those woods that I really like using tape on, because as you can see by our demonstration, we cut two of close to the same patterns, this side with the tape, this side without tape. You can see the side without the tape has some burn mark in it from where the blade was cutting and it burned the wood. A lot of sanding, a lot of work to get that to clean up. The side with the tape, again, cut with the same blade, the same saw, same everything. There is no burn in here. So you can see the tape really helps with cutting some different material. I like using tape, especially on cherry, but on a lot of projects, it does make the blade work better. The next thing you want to think about when you cut is the pattern selection. And there's a lot of different books available at your Woodcraft store, and in these books are varying degrees of patterns that you can use that they pretty much set up and give you all the instructions for. It's like any other pattern. One thing to keep in mind on these patterns is the grain of the wood. One of the things you want to keep in mind is the grain pattern for all the wood. All the patterns show you which way the grain should run, and you want to adhere to that, because if the grain goes the wrong way, and depending on the wood you use, your pattern may break as you use it because of the grain. We've selected a couple patterns, and we're just going to cut these out of oak veneer plywood. Now we've kind of jumped a little bit because, as you can see in this pattern, we need to cut some insides. So what we've done, we've selected this pattern. Again, we've adhered it to the wood with using rubber cement, and I've already went ahead and prepped it. And we're going to do a couple things. Not only are we going to cut the pattern, we're going to talk about stack cutting. And stack cutting is nice, and it's just what it says. We've cut 3 layers of wood. We've glued them together using drops of hot glue in each of the corners. And again, there's different ways you can do that. Some people like nails. Some people use tape around the edges. I personally prefer hot glue. It makes it a little cleaner surface for me to work on, and it doesn't wobble on my table. We've also you have to have holes to get to the insides of your pattern. So we again have already prepped all this, and we've drilled the holes in here. Smaller the blade, the smaller the holes what you need. Don't get too crazy with the holes, and you can see I've used almost about a 1/16 inch drill bit on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the tension off the saw, and we're going to have to feed the blade through here. The nice thing about this particular saw is that the blade will go through the top. And what we're going to do, we'll do this one first. And what we're going to do is we're going to reattach the blade to the saw. Get this hole down out of the way. We're going to reattach the blade to the saw, and again, making sure we haven't made no other adjustments, we'll put the tension back on the blade. Now again, I like to keep my good work, the stuff I'm going to keep, to the right side of my blade. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here at the top, and we're going to cut down on the points. And again, taking our time, we're going to go in here and we're going to cut down the pattern. And I like this method, especially for making Christmas ornaments, which is what I have here, because I can cut 3 patterns in the time it takes me to cut 1. And again, you're cutting a little thicker pattern of wood, so you want to take your time when you cut. And again, curves are curves, points are points, and you want to take your time. The nice thing about a scroll saw is that it only cuts when you push against the blade. And again, you can see my hands are out of the way of the blade. We don't want any accidents. We don't want to cut anybody. And as you probably notice, I'm wearing my safety glasses. You never know if a blade will break or a piece of wood will splinter out. It's always better to be safe. Again, we'll cut around all the lines in here. These are great little projects to use for Christmas or any other little event that you might be going to, and there's thousands of patterns out there that are available. You can get them on the internet, and there's books. Now that we've finished that cut, we're going to redo it. We're going to take this all apart. And you'll be able to see that after we've stack cut and we've lifted all this out of here, we end up getting 3 pieces. I've just conveniently thrown on the floor. But we have 3 pieces that come out of here. And you can see we've cut them all at the same time. And we'll continue that for the other 2 pieces, and then we'll cut the outside. So now we've got the insides, we will go ahead and we're going to cut the outsides. And again, I like keeping my work to the right. And we're going to go through here and we're going to cut this pattern. Again, taking our time to make sure curves are curves, straights are straights. Should be noted I am using a number 5 blade to cut this material. This material is about 3/8 of an inch thick with the 3 pieces. And I like a number 5 blade as a general all-around cut purpose blade. And we've cut our pattern out, and as you can see as we slide this out of here, we've now cut 3 of the same identical pattern, and the time it's taken us to cut 1. Again, it's a great idea for stack cutting if you know you're going to use a lot of these type patterns. Great things for friends and gifts. Stack cutting is a great idea. We appreciate you watching our demo series. We hope you got something out of this. If we can be any more help from you, we encourage you to come on down to the Woodcraft of Dayton, talk to us. We'll help you out with what we can. We'll set you up with books and equipment. We're here to help you make woodwork.